I have to say that Rachel Zegler is an incredibly talented person. I think she was perfectly cast as Lucy Gray-Baird. Hey everyone, welcome back to Candid Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Today I will be reviewing the new Hunger Games film, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And I just wanted to say that I had also read the book for Maud's Book Club. Yes, there are links down below for Maud's Book Club, and I just want to say that if it wasn't for NBC, I wouldn't have gone into reading again. And I've read like 30 books this year, from like 1 a year to 30 books this year. Absolute insanity, but this was one of them. And it's also the only paperback copy out of my collection for the Hunger Games, because everything else is hardcover and I hate it so much. Anyways, that's not what I'm talking about here. This movie is the prequel to the Hunger Games. So we have Coriolanus Snow, Coriolanus as the main protagonist here for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And I think that's why this book specifically felt like a chore to get through, because it's not like he's an unlikable character, but you just know who he becomes as President Snow in the Hunger Games, that you don't really care for him. So for Suzanne Collins to write from his perspective and make people kind of sympathize with him it's hard. It's really hard. Not many people do sympathize with him. It's how you interpret it yourself. But I do think that the movie did make you sympathize with him a bit more, just because of what's set up at the beginning with Corio and obviously Lucy Gray-Baird. I think that setup there just made you want to root for him and root for Lucy as well. That's the main difference here. And I think in the book, she was more likable than he was, but we also get the perspective that he was completely in love with her. We didn't get that much of like the romantic aspect in the film, and I think that's kind of what was lacking for me. But I was rather impressed with Francis Lawrence. Obviously, he directed the other Hunger Games films. Catching Fire is still top tier to this day. Nothing will ever touch it. It's still the best book out of the entire trilogy there. And I think that he brought a much darker, more sinister atmosphere through the eyes of Corio, especially with Dr. Gull being involved, who Viola Davis is Viola Davis, Queen Viola Davis. Killed it. She had a lot of fun in this role. I was really happy to see her. And we stay with her for a majority of this runtime because she oversees the games. It's a very strong adaptation. I was extremely happy with it. I was pleasantly surprised with how much I love this. It's really well done. So what happens here is that this is the 10th Hunger Games, and we see that Corio is going to become a mentor. They start this mentorship program, and they also do the film in these 3 parts. So in this first section, they introduce the mentorship, which we know, like Haymitch, who's played by Woody Harrelson, mentors Katniss in the Hunger Games. So the mentorship program starts here in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. It's really interesting. And what happens is that they need people to watch the Hunger Games. So the mentors, in order to win the prize, to get this prize money, Corio devises a plan to make Lucy Gray-Baird the best performance ever. But he also places in Dr. Gull's head that people can bet. So what does that mean? They want viewers to bet, to send money, to sponsor in order to give them supplies like weapons and water and food and all of that stuff. So Corio is the one that comes up with that system. There are a lot of things that are in Snow's head, but it's the simple fact that he is doing this because he lost his parents. He doesn't have enough money to survive. This is all for survival. Snow lands on top. The whole time he's thinking 5 steps ahead, but he's not thinking of the mind of like, I have to save these people. It's the fact that I have to save myself. I have to get myself through this. It has nothing to do with anybody else. So how can I play the game with Dr. Gull? How can I play the game with the Capitol? Because that's what he knows. He knows these people through and through, and he uses it to his advantage. And it's really incredible writing from Suzanne Collins. And you do want to see what he's going to do That's the thing, is like, it's such an intriguing, complex character that you do want to see what he's going to end up doing, especially with Lucy Greybeard, especially with the fact that there is a romantic interest between someone who's a mentor in the Capitol and someone from District 12. I like that aspect as well, and it worked. It really worked here. I have to say that Rachel Zegler is an incredibly talented person. I think she was perfectly cast as Lucy Greybeard. She had the accent down pat. Obviously, we know that she has the voice because the songs were haunting and she delivered them beautifully. Fantastic work from Zegler. If you guys didn't think that she was a superstar from before who just won a Golden Globe for playing Maria on West Side Story, this is it. She really can do anything, and she's going to be a very exciting young actress to watch in the future. She's very good. Hunter Schafer as Tigris. I love seeing her. I thought she was so sweet and soft-spoken, so kind and caring as his cousin, as Corio's cousin. But I feel like there wasn't enough of her. I mean, in the book, there wasn't that much of Tigris to begin with, but I just really, really wish that we could have seen more of her because she was an absolute doll in this. I loved her. I think that Tom Blyth as Coriolanus Snow was fantastic. This is the first time I've ever seen him act. Oh my God. He just got better in each scene. As the film progresses, you see that he's losing himself. And especially what happens in the third act of this film, you see a very different Snow. And you can just feel that he's starting to shatter. The real world is starting to get to him, and he knows that he can play the game in the Capitol, but he can't play the game in the real world. He doesn't know how to function in the real world. And there's a line in this book that I actually bookmarked because it's also mentioned in the film, and I think this was really important. So Dr. Gall says, "Without the threat of death, it wouldn't have been much of a lesson. What happened in the arena, that's humanity undressed. The tributes and you, too, how quickly civilization disappears. All your fine manners, education, family background, everything you pride yourself on, stripped away in the blink of an eye, revealing everything you actually are. A boy with a club who beats another boy to death. That's mankind in its natural state." So she says this when Corio goes into the arena because Sejanus, who's played by Josh Andre Rivera, who is so fantastic in this. We didn't see enough of him in West Side Story, but he was incredible in this. And it's all about these young actors getting the opportunity to showcase their talents. And Rivera did a fantastic job in this. So he goes in there because his tribute from District 2, who he used to go to school with, was killed. They completely massacred him, but he wanted to give him a District 2 send-off. And he went in there in the arena. He wasn't supposed to go in there. No one's supposed to go in the arena. And he went in there, and Dr. Gall was like, "Listen, you have to go get your buddy out because you are the only one that he's going to listen to." So when he goes in there, Snow has no idea what's in store for him because the people who are in the Hunger Games, these tributes, have lost their minds. They need to survive. You don't know the true meaning of survival unless you are literally stripped of everything that you own. So the second he gets in there, you see someone with a weapon coming straight at you and attacking you. What do? Your natural instincts kick in, and he beat him to a pulp. So this is not only applied to the Hunger Games. What Dr. Gall tells him is that it can be applied to the real world. It's literally dog eat dog out there. And Snow eventually knows how to mentally destroy people. So you see the start of that. He starts thinking of what the Hunger Games actually means, and then we get to see his final form in the third act. There are so many wonderful things in this film to actually build up who President Snow is. The only thing is that this movie is coming out almost like, I think it's like a decade since the first Hunger Games came out, or even past that now. And it's like, are people going to feel the same way that they did when the Hunger Games originally came out for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes? I can comfortably say absolutely, because we haven't had like a dystopian YA book adaptation in a very long time. And if there has been, I haven't watched them. to be honest. So I miss this. I miss this universe. I think that they did an excellent job adapting the book. Although I did feel like it was a chore to sit through reading this thing, they translated to screen extremely well. And the one thing that I read in the book, and it's the same pivot in the third act, is that the third act doesn't match the rest of the tone from the beginning of the film. So you have obviously the setup, you have the games, and then what happens after the games. What happens after the games is just really weird, and it feels like it was tacked on. So that's my only peeve with this. I could have given it a higher score, but I do think that it just felt weird, and it was a very harsh pivot. Going back to District 12, we got to see Lucy Graybeard sing a bit more, but I do think that what happens in the third act just completely breaks Snow. And obviously that's what we needed in order to push him into the Hunger Games. But I still give Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes a 4 out of 5. It's really entertaining. It does drag a bit in that third act. I also want to give a huge shout out to Jason Schwartzman. It's very hard to be an earlier version of Caesar Flickerman, but he did a fantastic job. It's kind of hard to match Stanley Tucci, but I think he did a fantastic job. He's been having a great year this year. So I really enjoyed this. The whole cast steps up and delivers. The production design's fantastic. Francis Lawrence knows this world through and through. He is the only one that could have come back to direct this, and I thought it was really well done. I liked it a lot, and it is a perfect book adaptation. That's what I can say. So if you guys enjoyed The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, you can let me know in the comments below. Please give me your Hunger Games ranking, and if I don't see Catching Fire first, we're gonna have to have a little argument, because Catching Fire is first. Everyone knows it's Catching Fire, Hunger Games, and Mockingjay Part 1 and Part 2, because they're just there. It shouldn't have been split. We know it shouldn't have been split. We know this now. Not every final book had to be split. I'm looking at you, Breaking Dawn, and I'm looking at you, Deathly Hallows. There's no way that that should have happened back then whatsoever. Just absolutely not. Please let me know in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can always follow me over at AMXND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. And if you guys want to help me grow this wonderful channel, you can find out ways to do that in the bio below. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.